Hello, this is Trisha Schmalhofer with BAM, Badasses, Alchemists, and Mystics. I'll tell you what, we have a true BAM in the studio today. Tara Allgood. She is a badass alchemist mystic. Tara, say hello.
Hello.
I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so excited for this because we're going to talk about some, quote unquote out there stuff. The title is The Multidimensional Earth and the Ascended Human. It almost sounds like a sci-fi movie title, but this is reality right now, folks. So I just want to, Tara, I met you. It's got to be close to 8. I think it's been like maybe 6 years ago. 5 years. And, she has been such a wonderful mentor to me. Whenever I go to you, Tara, with some dilemma that's out there, you are so good at giving resources. She'll text links to all of these blogs that are a little bit kind of fringe or some websites that have all this really ancient text information, and it feeds the
I'm good at finding the needle in the haystack for you.
You are. Yeah. And, I have this sage personality where I love to gain knowledge and then teach others. And so that just really rings true to me. So Tara, it's so good to have you here. So what do you want to say about yourself for the audience?
I don't like talking about myself so much. But you know what was really cool to me was listening to that intro music and having this vision in my head of these animals and these children and these sort of tribal sort of peoples and groups of peoples sort of in the ether, in the trees, waiting to kind of come out.
It was
and to kind of approach and to kind of be like, hey, we're coming out and bam, we're in your timeline.
Yes. And, we're going to talk, let's segue into that right now and then we'll go into the 12D time matrix. But first, how we both go through life realizing there's consciousness in everything.
Yes.
And that we are in this multidimensional reality where we can tap in. It's a really shamanic way of looking at things, but we realize we can sense when our guides or animals in the etheric or even just in 3D reality that we can touch and feel has a consciousness and is always communicating with us.
Everything is a part of the one mind. And, the word God, source, whatever word you want to use. One thing about me, I don't like labels. Mm-hmm. People get real hung up on words and vocabulary, and half the time you realize there's not even a difference in what you're trying to express. It's just that one person has been taught that a particular word means something specific, mm-hmm. and the other person has been taught it means something else. And it can be quite limiting when you're sitting there arguing over semantics. So the source of your being, God, Goddess, Mother, Father, God, whatever,
Divine intelligence, I've heard it's
the
called.
creatrix,
the one, presence.
Yeah.
It's all the same vibration.
So it's all the same vibration, and it's all the same mind. And everything we're experiencing is basically made out of light, and it's slowed down or sped up to a rate of resonance, or we hear the term vibration or frequency thrown around a lot, but I think resonance is actually more appropriate. So that's really what matter is. And so we're experiencing matter, and we're experiencing separation inside the same mind. Now, the best way to understand this would be have you ever had a lucid dream where you're dreaming? You're like, oh my gosh, I'm in a dream. All right, I'm going to fly. Yes. Or you do something fun because you're in a dream and you have the power to. Mm-hmm. So if all of reality, if all of the multiverses were the mind of the one dreamer, all of those God. Characters might perceive themselves and experience themselves as separate, just like you do in your own dream. But those other characters in your dream are still you in your mind.
Right.
Just like you and I are still characters in that same one mind that we know of as God, or love, or the light consciousness and the love consciousness of God, because that's the nature and the essence of our source, and the creative intelligence that spawned the instruction set that created the human container for source light intelligence, which is our DNA.
Mm-hmm. So to kind of summarize, you're saying that God is dreaming us.
It's a good way to conceptualize and understand better how one mind could be many people. That's a good example. And yes, I do believe the nature of reality is quite dreamlike. That's how I experience it. So.
Yeah. Especially, I find as I do my inner work and walk my path and do my spiritual practices and do feel more expansive and going inward, it is more dreamlike.
It is. It's very liquid, very fluid.
Well, and now I feel like the layers between the realities they're lifting, because I've been just experiencing, and then even with my clients that I'm working with lately, we're doing like quantum timeline work. Like all of a sudden I'm in another body, doing something else in another timeline, another lifetime as you will, but it's happening at the same time. Now, it doesn't mean my consciousness is still here. I still know I'm Trisha.
Yes.
But my awareness is in another body.
Like a bilocation.
Yes.
Sort of, yeah. And I've had a lot of that just this past week.
Yes.
Really, it's been really intense.
It has.
And that's the fact that there's multiple timelines in flux. And there's parallel timelines, parallel realities. And we are constantly in a state of collapsing and altering timelines. So part of the fun of the ascension journey of waking up, and part of the magic that you get to experience when you decide to participate in the process. And I don't mean ritualistic magic. I don't mean summoning things or anything like that. I mean heart magic. I mean simply stepping into the inheritance that humans and the earth has and was always meant to experience at this time, as she rises, as her stellar frequency rises, and as we rise up in the universe. Mm-hmm. So basically we're just reclaiming our natural state in our natural relationship to Mother, Father, God, which is like a very beloved child who asks and receives. And if you read the Bible and read the teachings of Jesus, I mean, I'm sorry, but a lot of what Jesus said was right on. It's mystical wisdom is what it is. It's spiritual truth. And you'll find a lot of spiritual truth by a lot of the masters. And what we're doing now on the planet is we're having this really exciting time because of the advent of the internet and communication. We can start to compare those notes, and we can start to cross these division lines and these illusions of differences and delusions of, threatening differences between one another's beliefs, and begin to overcome those things and start to kind of see sanity here and recognize a lot of the stuff. If you look at all of the major spiritual paths, all of the ones who lead to good spiritual fruit, which lead to peace, love, compassion, empathy, the golden rule, basically. Yes. Anything along those lines, you'll find the same spiritual truths are being alluded to, and these are the things that are being revealed more and more now at this time, because of the necessity of understanding the mysteries, what we thought was so profoundly mysterious for so long while we were under the control of these political and religious organizations and groups of elitists and families and associations who thought that they could use our ignorance and our fear and our genetic memory of psychological trauma from the past, racial history memories, and the more recent ones to keep us in that sort of control and fear matrix that the religion does a really good job of.
Right. I feel like all of the masters that started the belief structures that then offshooted into religions. It's like humans took these different, not so different concepts, right? And depending on the region that these masters were in,
the cultural lens.
Yes, and the systems that they were in, then the human brain and people in charge kind of took these things to form these structures to contain, to induce fear, maybe even harness energy in a certain way.
Still.
So
Look at the steeple. What is that?
the what?
The steeple on a church.
Oh, tell me
Think about that. That's an energy rod.
Well,
You
it
got
is
all those
like a
people in there,
pyramid.
all those people in there singing and praising and their hands in the air, and all that energy is being collected and going up a steeple. That's an energy siphoning system. That's being used in a black magic grid.
So sacred. So geometry. Looking at the different shapes, and you'll see like certain shapes throughout history, right? And that pyramid shape does collect. That's the base kind of brings it in and then harnesses up to the tip.
Right.
So wherever you see that, and it depends too, you have this energy or resonance that you had, I like that word better too, resonance. It depends the intention behind it. Like we could just, right now, I could go off in like a gazillion different ways. So where do we want to go with this?
Okay.
Where do we want to go with this?
Well,
what's the important message here?
Let's get back to the good stuff, which is
let's
the
go with the good
earth
stuff.
changing
Let's
and
go there.
the restoration of the natural energy systems and the crystalline grids and those parts of our planet that have been so degraded, that have been implanted, that have been targeted. They have been being restructured. They have been being rebuilt. And they've been coming back online in order to help reconnect consciousness to the higher dimensional realities and higher dimensional timelines and be able to transfer more and more consciousness over to those organic ascending timelines and away from the inorganic AI descending timelines. Now, our ley lines on the Earth and our diamagnetic gravity vortex system is a natural part of the mechanics of ascension and our interaction with the universal complex.
Okay, so let's take what you just said, and we're going to break it down.
Thank you.
Okay, so the multidimensional Earth, let's start there. So, because all of this stuff's happening on all of these different dimensional levels in this compressed space. Is that correct in saying that?
Yes.
Okay, so let's break down what this multidimensional Earth structure. What is this 12D time matrix?
Okay.
What is this?
So here would be here's probably the easiest way to just get a general understanding. So the majority of humanity is living at a second or third D level of consciousness. These levels of consciousness also relate to our chakras and our centers of energy. As we develop as human beings, our consciousness develops up these centers of energy in our spine. So once we get up to the third, which is our solar plexus, the center of who we are, it's your identity. Okay, now the next step would be into the heart and the fourth dimension. And that's where the Earth has just basically like still trying to plow through. We've got 5D opened up, okay, in certain places,
and
which is up here. Now, the majority
which
of
is
people,
throat.
And when we talk
5D.
about indigo children, we're talking about people, souls that incarnated on the planet that were born with consciousness in the 6D and their third eye already open and activated. So the reason that they are here is to be like a frequency placeholder, like a rod or an antenna to help other human beings, shift up, basically modulate up and be like, oh, it's okay, and them to comfort and assist with activating the knowledge of that, the understanding of it, and just the very reality of it. Because the reality of it was being shut out, denied, covered up, and the controllers are still trying to, even though they know they've lost, even though they know they cannot thwart the Earth from ascending this time. It is over. She's ascending.
Yeah.
They are in their death throes, but they will keep fighting like that.
And so going back to the dimensions and how they correspond to the chakras, like the 3D, the third dimension is the third chakra.
Right. So 3D reality is like the physical plane.
Right.
So the 4D is like the plane right beyond this, what a lot of people will refer to as the astral plane or where you dream. The 4D is polarized and it is full of holographic inserts, of technology, of alien technology, of magical vortexes, portals.
Is that our mental realm, the 4D?
No, let's not confuse that, because in our body, you have an emotional body, you have a mental body.
Okay.
Okay. Now there's a mental plane, there's an emotional plane, but you can't put all the models together on top of each other, unfortunately. So looking at it from the more expanded view, it would be like this. We're in a system of dimensionalization, which is basically time. We're in a system of time. To experience time, you move through space. So dimensions are just spaces in time, all right?
Right.
And so our body, our consciousness at the mineral and the bone and the nervous system level, and just like the 3D physical, what's going on here, along with, like, say, our emotions and our thoughts, depending on what our emotions and our thoughts are attuned to, that's going to determine what type of dimensional frequency we're bringing through our mental or our emotional body.
That is something that what we attune to is something we can take charge of. That's something we are in control of.
Yes.
Of what you listen to, what you take in to condition your mind. Because there's a lot of influences.
We have all the power in the world in general. Once we understand these hidden things, at first it can be pretty scary to go from this box of this is what reality is. We have all the answers, and it's this, this, and this, and then to start to unpackage the layers of the onion and realize it is nothing like what we're taught. Some people have serious psychological breakdowns and experience spiritual crisis. It's a big leap. People. It takes time. It's one step at a time. Mm-hmm. I happen to have had a lot of years dedicated to just exploring this stuff. So for me, it's, I can sit here and rattle it off and jump around, but I don't want people to think like, it's not that easy at first. It takes a little bit of time, but you will get it. You'll get it because you'll start to have personal experiences of it.
There you go.
And it will reveal itself to you, just like what happened to me, simply by having the intention I intend to ascend. You intend to ascend this lifetime, and having a purity of heart, a willingness to work on yourself and to develop good spiritual fruits, to love others and to love the earth and the animals, and to treat all of creation with compassion and care. And do you need to go to break?
Oh, good. You put the time up, Jesse. I was like, where are we? And the thing is, when you start talking about this, you lose track of time anyway, because you do start to like kind of go into different time matrices.
There's so much to say.
So we will go to a break, but now my phone's not ready for this, but so before we do go to break, I want to just feature a badass event that's coming up. The Annie Oakley Festival in Palm Bay, Florida. It's Saturday, February 8th, 2020.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, my bestie was in the Annie Oakley filming for Disney just recently here at Satellite High, cool. And they're putting that on the TV this week.
Well, this is a festival put out by Femme Fatale Arms, gun store and training, and this is really worth the trip to Florida if you don't live here. There's a SWAT experience where you clear a house with air rifles with the Palm Bay Police Department SWAT team. There's opportunity to train to shoot all kinds of firearms, including an AR-15, if you just want to feel what that feels like, which is not an assault rifle, by the way. I learned that from Maria Dockery. And plus all kinds of other badass experiences being lined up for your entertainment, training, empowerment, training, and fun. This event is created and run by, again, Femme Fatale Arms and Training, Maria Dockery, to support local organizations and charities. ladiesgunstore.com, phone number 321-327-3790. We'll be back in just a little bit.
Hey guys, I'm Steve Vitani, Brevard resident and realtor with RE/MAX Elite. I'm excited to announce my new, very own podcast show, Steve Talks 321. We are on Facebook Live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, talking about the most current real estate trends, hot topics, as well as anything along the Space Coast in Brevard County. I'm excited to share all of the latest happenings throughout Brevard County and also to hear from you. Please like this page, Steve Talks 321, and share this page and podcast with your friends. Thanks a lot. I hope to hear from you guys soon.
Hey, make sure you check out Space Cowboy Justice with your hosts, Blake Stewart and Paul Daly. We're going to be talking about interesting legal issues in the entertainment industry and everything geek. If you're into Star Wars, Star Trek, Lord of the Rings, comic books, we're talking about it. Coming at you from the Space Coast Podcast Studios.
All right, we're back. It's Tara Allgood and me, Trisha Schmalhofer, with BAM, Badasses, Alchemists, Mystics. We are on a journey through the multidimensional timeline. So we're going to probably go out there and then try to reel it back in to try to break it down. And so we're going to finish talking about the 12D time matrix. I think we got up to the 5th to 5D to the throat. That's my phone.
Feedback.
There we go.
Okay.
So we're on 5D. We're talking about the throat chakra.
So right. Okay. So basically, there's 12 dimensions within the time matrix that manifest into dimensionalization, to materialization. Okay. So what we're looking at when we're looking at the body and is what I had just explained. But what I want to explain is that those 12 dimensions, it's really 15 because there's 3 sound fields outside of the 12 dimensions that kind of hold it in place. So it's really 5 harmonic universes of 3 dimensions each. So dimensions 1, 2, and 3 is HU1. Dimension 4, 5, and 6 is HU2. Dimension 7, 8, and 9 is harmonic universe 3, and so on and so forth. So when we're working on the physical body and developing our emotional and mental mind and just evolving past seeking pleasure and avoiding pain, we're working on our consciousness in the first harmonic universe. Well, what Ascension is it's going beyond that into 4, 5, and 6, and that's where you have to do to actually embody your soul. The soul is there. So your emotional and your mental body has to actually go through an alchemical process of, in Christianity, you call it being spiritually born again. Mm-hmm. In other paths, you might call it awakening. In Wicca, you call it being reveined. I mean, there's all these different words for it, but it's a transformation. It's a change of mind and a change of heart. And it's basically where you have a fermentation or a conjunction of a higher aspect of yourself and into your lower dimensional body and experience. And that's why people go, oh my God, I had an awakening, right? Mm-hmm. And then people can experience things such as what are called Kundalini awakenings. That comes from Eastern terminology. In Western terminology, you might just say it's your sexual vital energies. Mm-hmm. There's biblical terminology you could go into as well, but it's all symbolic and veiled, but it's there in Revelations. But when that life force energy raises up our central vertical column and into each of our chakra centers, it activates consciousness. It activates awareness of dimensional realities. And then you begin to sense and perceive, and higher sensory perception comes online. Now, as you become aware of more of reality, because it's not that the reality it's new, it's that you weren't aware of it. You were walking around with blinders on. You were like a television set that went from channel 1 to 35, but this is on channel 37. Mm-hmm. So when you have a transformation, a spiritual, alchemical transformation, you have a new channel to turn on, and you suddenly start to perceive things. Now, this has to happen at a rate that doesn't blow your mind.
Well, that was what I was going to ask you. How do people raise their Kundalini or this energy through the chakras in a safe manner? Is it doing, because some people like that do like those exercises can actually have a mental breakdown.
Oh, you absolutely can. And I don't.
How do you do it in a natural way? What are some practices?
It's really about intention. And the Kundalini rising situation will happen pretty much naturally when you're ready for it. If you force things like that and opening your third eye, you may not be spiritually mature enough for it, or may not have had the lessons learned necessary to be able to get around, and you could get in trouble. Like I was saying, the astral realm, that is full of all sorts of things, soul traps and entities and very dark things. And technologies, even anything that exists in the physical realm exists in those realms as well.
This is reminding me, I just had a conversation, someone that had a spiritual awakening, got clean and sober, started really opening up, and all of a sudden her house she was getting slapped on the face and hearing like really awful things. So is that possibly what happens?
Yes,
is that
could have opened up too soon, or she participated
Right.
in some sort of activity that opened up a portal to something.
Right. Once she took, I guided her to take sovereignty over her space and her own body. She gradually passed. So did she shift into another space, or I guess it's unique. It just depends on the
whole
person.
thing is unique.
Yeah.
And this is a process that, people sometimes, people take many lifetimes to go through. Now we're at a place in history and in the cycles of evolution here and how it affects our planet, where there's a lot of souls coming in who are they've already done this, been there, done that. They're coming here to assist with the earth making this transformation and not failing again, because the earth tried several times and basically fail. It's like kind of like a cosmic abortion, like the egg didn't take.
Right. I'm feeling like everyone that's really on their spiritual path, doing their inner work, that's doing like planet healing and really tapped into the ascension process and the shift, are feeling that this sense of that this is the time. Like we are going to do it this time, and the time is now to really do your work.
Yes. And that's the one thing that people might want to know. Well, how do you get to a higher dimensional Earth timeline? How do you shift from your reality into a reality that is more magical, that is a higher dimensional? It's the work. And what the work is it's basically just clearing out your crap.
Yes.
It's the stuff inside of you that stands between you and what the pure reality is. It truly is. It's our fears. It's our beliefs. It's our pains. It's our fetishes. It's our obsessions. It's our ideas about things and the different tales we're chasing. And it takes a long time to go through those things one by one and identify them within ourselves. And it's something you continue to do your entire life. But the more you strip away at that, the more light and illumination that comes through, and the less crazy, chaotic, events happen, because deep inside that things are in control. You're connected to your source. You have a deep peace. As you progress and as you pass your little initiations, your little life lessons, and you build and learn to more spiritual energies, you begin to use more of your higher sensory perceptions. You get tuned in and opened up to more of these things. You get shown more things, but you have to show you're ready for it. You can handle it just like anything else.
Exactly. And if you are doing the work, looking at your shadow stuff and your fears, and the core beliefs is a really big one.
Huge.
Stuff that you got from your ancestors, from your mom and dad. Even you can even carry core beliefs from timelines and lifetimes where they're just anchored in there and they're not even yours. But yet you're making decisions based on these. So it's having the courage and the perseverance to do your inner work and to, we're like banging into stuff here, to discard those, to clean them out, to walk through them. And then it naturally happens. The ascension process naturally
It's a lot like that movie with Robin Williams, What Dreams May Come.
Oh, yeah. That's an interesting movie.
It really is. And, your life can get very shifty here. And we have to be careful, because it's not like it's all about intention. If you go with this attitude about, I'm going to manifest whatever I want, materialistically, you're going to go down a wrong path. It doesn't work that way. You will always have what you need. If you look at abundance as the things that you need, and you're to be comfortable, to be well taken care of, to get where you want to go, that's a different attitude than, oh, I'm just in this stuff to try to manifest wealth. The wealth comes from within.
Right. But wealth and richness, I just did a program on this, and I'm going to have a guest on in December that actually that's her business. But what I realized is richness is not just money.
Right.
That's a 3D.
Yep. It's one expression.
It's a 3-dimensional representation of richness and abundance, but it is so much more of like just having this gratitude and openness and connection with all of this.
For some people, it's just having love at home every day. They've
wealth.
never had that. And people who have love all the time in their life, they are very wealthy compared to a lot of people. You look at people in third worlds. I mean, look how wealthy even our lower income people must look to them.
Or they have a very
information. Information is wealth.
Yes.
The power to heal or regenerate yourself. There's all sorts of ways that abundance can express. If you go into this for the right reason, to be of service, to be a part of the light, to be a part of Ascension Earth.
I'm glad you're bringing this up.
To be a part of, Team Earth and Team Ascension. Then you will experience, and you can experience, all sorts of really cool stuff like bilocation, like psychic phenomena.
And it's not weird. You're just kind of going into it.
You get used to it.
What I've realized is getting in connection with divine mind and divine will.
Yes, that's it.
Helps me manifest what is correct for me. It's not just my ego saying, oh yeah, I want more money in my bank account. But if it's divine will to have more money in my bank account, so now I can open a wellness center, or now I can give to this organization that's doing wonderful things, then it will manifest.
Yep. It's like, just ask for what you need. You'll get it.
So yes, we have to take a second break. Sure. And before we go to that break, I want to highlight, actually, this is interesting because this is kind of what we were just talking about. It's a badass event that's coming up. It's a manifesting party by Tasha Chen, the Science of Getting Rich Academy. It's very interesting. Where you create your own money manifested board for 2020. There's many locations to choose from: Atlanta, Georgia, Tallahassee, Florida, West Palm Beach, Florida, Melbourne, Florida, Jamaica. They're all going to be hosting these manifesting parties. If you'd like to sign up for this wonderful event or host one in your area, go to Tasha Chen, that's TASHACHEN.com/party. It is amazing. She's amazing. Check it out. We'll be back in just a minute.
Hey there, this is Jesse Hall, and I want to remind you to tune into Business Elite Brevard Edition. And what we do on Business Elite Brevard Edition is bring to you some of the biggest movers and shakers on the Space Coast. These could be industry leaders, tech innovators, and social influencers. And what we do is kind of bring them on, ask them some of the most relevant questions that you may not know about. And these are people who may not be in the news, but they are making moves behind the scenes. Again, tune in. Business Elite Brevard Edition.
You're listening to Space Coast Podcast, home of the greatest podcasts on the Space Coast. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor or having your own show, email us at spacecoastpodcast@hotmail.com. Space Coast Podcast. Talk hard!
All right, we're back. Tara Allgood and Trisha Schmalhofer with BAM, Badasses, Alchemists, and Mystics. We got some real badassery, alchemy, and mysticism going on here today. So, Tara, I see on our Facebook Live, we do have some questions. Do you want to take that, or you want to keep talking about the 12D?
In the essence of just wrapping up what I was saying, because we can talk about this in more depth down the road. I want to reach these people where they're at right now. Mm-hmm. But basically, the rest of the time matrix, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, these are the levels where there's other star systems you might find archetypal beings, and your Christed avatar self will be like your 12th dimensional self. So these are very lofty, very celestial, very divine aspects that belong not just to ourselves as individuals, but to the planet herself.
Yep.
And part of the agenda of keeping planet Earth under captivity and control, and keeping ascension from getting off the ground, and keeping humanity as low consciousness slaves who do not evolve, had to do with interfering with those systems and those processes and those intelligences. So, okay, so we have some people. Hi, Jessica, and hi, Angie. Thank you for being here with us today and for participating. And, okay, so these two ladies are basically talking about, they've just had an awakening, and what can be done right now? And Angie says, is it best to work with a coach? Can meditation alone help with ascension? Okay, so one of the most important things I think with ascension, especially when it comes to coaches, teachers, and I coach. So as a coach, I'm saying this. You do not need a guru. Your guru is inside of you. If anybody tries to take power over you, tell you that they know everything, you don't know anything, they know better than you who you are, or tell you your story.
I can feel the energy coming
I don't
from
like
her.
that.
You know, we both have had mentors that have been that way. So this is something definitely we share.
This is about freedom and sovereignty, and the benevolent intelligences assisting our, the angels, the ETs, all the nature spirits, everyone who's here to help us is here to teach us freedom and sovereignty. So if that is not a key principle in what you are being taught, and if you are being taught dependence or codependence on someone else's thoughts,
Right.
big red flag, get out of there. All you got to do is ask for the right person to show up in your reality, and they will. And that is the crux of how the magical reality works. You really step out in faith and understand things are coming to you, and they're coming to you in the right time, and you don't have to control it, and you don't have to always have a plan, and you don't have to always know everything. Sometimes you just have to let go and make space and just be and just allow whatever is inside you to come out. Like I think Jessica had talked about. Going through excess mental baggage. Exactly. Keep that positive outlook. It is hard to go through painful mental baggage, but you have to dump the load, because that's your density. When we're talking about ascension, we're talking about rising in vibration and frequency, not just as lip service, but as a very literal thing. You will feel like you are floating.
Well, and we, with this particular ascension process, we're bringing our bodies and minds with us.
Yes.
So as we're going through this, so meditation is a good practice,
Meditation,
Angie,
yes,
because
yes,
that is
yes.
how you can get in touch with that inner spiritual authority and really know what that discernment
You have
of yes
to
or
learn
no.
how to quiet your mind.
Yes, but working with the mental body of quieting, but also taking care of your health and your physical body, because it is also going to be vibrating at a higher frequency. So you're going to be getting off toxins. You're going to be feeling
The
aches
more
and pains.
Alkaline you can get your body, it will assist with the clearing. There will be aches and pains and discomfort with the body during the process at times as you're clearing. There's different methods of self-care that you can use to cope with that. And you'll have to go with the flow and roll with the punches, but the rewards are worth it. And the days where you feel like you are just, on a cloud, it's so beautiful and it's so wonderful, because it's just like the light in this world is shining and you can feel your connection. And we're taught to believe that we're not supposed to feel that way. But the journal, that's what I wanted to say to these girls.
Journal.
Your journal. Start there. Get your journal. Write down your dreams and write down any repeat thoughts or ideas that keep coming to you. Write them down. There's something there for you. What you want to start doing is getting to know your own personal language of symbolism, because your soul is going to talk to you using your intuitive faculty.
That's right.
A lot. And that's going to be through symbols. And so you need to know what what symbols mean to you, what your personal interpretation is,
Not
and
just
also
what's written in a book somewhere.
that too. You look at them both.
Yes,
Right, but you have your own
discern
language.
which one? Yes. But don't rely on that book to be like, oh, a cat means this. It's like, what's a cat mean to you, or what's it's both.
You'll always get where you need to be when you need to be there. You'll always receive the information that you need when you need to receive it, as long as your intentions are clear. okay? And you are intending to ascend, and you are on your path, and you're doing your part. You never need to fret or stress about where the next class is going to come from, the next piece of information, the next teacher, not understanding something, because if you don't, it just means you're not meant to in this moment. And not only that, you probably do. You just can't fit it in your conscious mind down here right now at the moment because it's not necessary. So don't stress about it. We hold so much information in our higher bodies, and kind of like random access memory, we download it when we need it. Now, the more you let go of your boxes and your beliefs that that's not possible, the more you'll find that you're doing it all the time and you're getting what you need, and it's so simple. And, you know, you don't have to channel other entities to get that information. I don't channel entities. I don't let other things in my body. Through the law of correspondence, I can feel, hear, and get very close to them, and tell you what they're saying.
Right.
But your personal sovereignty and your personal space is very important. I think this is something that the ascension journey, it's a big shift that happened in the 2000s, where people started to realize, oh, this channeling thing, this was just one step. We need to kind of grow from here and realize how important our personal space is. We're not just opening up and just letting things in.
Right. I'm just addressing, Brenda said symbols are all around us. And yes, Brenda, we had talked about everything has a consciousness in the outer world, right? And yes, like you will have symbols and guidance, but with the ascension process, it's about also going within and connecting to eventually to that 12D aspect, and that's what's talking to you.
That's right.
That's where the communication and the discernment and the deciphering is coming from. Like I picture, if I'm going to be working with guides, it's my higher self that's working with the guides and giving me the information.
Exactly.
I always joke it's my higher self is like my bouncer.
Right. That's like on my website, I say, I don't summon, I don't channel. I go directly to Mother, Father, God, my higher self.
Yes.
And if a certain spirit guide needs to work with me or come in to get the highest good done, then guess what? Then hey, Lao Se shows up in my kitchen or whatever.
That's right.
Okay, but I'm not, or whoever it was that came, that source sent. But I'm not the one saying come here now, because I don't really see the big picture. I'm not personally omnipotent or omnipresent, and I don't know where they're needed right now, and I might not be the priority.
That's right.
It's pretty assumptive to think Kuan Yin, maybe she's got something better going on right now. Maybe she's busy with the Queen Elizabeth.
That's right.
You know,
it's true. It's true. So if you have that intention for the greatest good for yourself or that client,
yes, both. Hopefully.
Yes. Well,
Hopefully
whoever,
both.
if you're reading for yourself or reading for somebody else, but it's just trusting that you're connecting into Father, Mother, God, your highest part of yourself, and that is where it's coming from.
And that is your guardian angel. Your higher self is your holy and guardian angel. It's your holy guardian angel. It's your guardian angel.
I see it that way too.
People don't always understand that, and sometimes there can be like a rift, but that's what we're saying. It's your guardian angel. It's your higher self. It's your angel in heaven. It's the true you as you are outside this fallen world that you're experiencing.
Right.
Through this dimensional matrix.
And do you see that your higher self, or this is the connection between all of your lives through these timelines? This is
the monad. Yeah, the monad.
That's what the monad.
Yeah, the monad has about 144 soul extensions.
Okay.
So like in this lifetime now, like I would be aware of a couple other of my soul extensions walking around, and
they walking?
They're from the same monad.
Are they walking though in this timeline, in this 3D space? Oh, see, now I didn't. That's
working
not what I was talking
working
about.
on similar project. And it's funny because I've never met face to face or anything. Why should we have to? You were spread out for a reason, I suppose.
Right. Yeah.
But
if you were supposed to be together in a cluster, you would be. So that's something different. Yeah. So that's soul extensions that are here on this timeline together.
Yeah. You're unique individuals. Don't get me wrong, but you up there, you eventually kind of collapse into the same over soul, if you will. It's like a mama of the family. Like, okay, like here's the mama soul and here's the little baby souls and you're on a string, and well, have fun. I won't forget you.
Yes.
So when we got trapped here in 2012, my mama over soul, comes and says, give her back, and came and did that with a lot of consciousness.
So that's that piece of, in the shamanic work that I do, we actually have a physical soul and a mental soul and the over soul. So that makes sense to me that there can be individuals that share like an upper an upper soul. But now if you're
Well, the oversoul is individual, but it's even beyond that. It's like a monad source.
So oversoul,
it's like
and
source,
then
as
above
source,
that's
as
monad.
source is trying to delineate into individualization.
Okay.
It's going to delineate into a monad. It's going to spread out 144 soul extensions.
And then the soul extensions are the higher selves.
Yes, they have their own oversoul. They have their own
Okay, so then the higher selves
avatar self, and
will be operating on different timeline, on different quantum selves or lifetimes.
Yes.
Okay.
The higher self can, okay, so like you might have, it's very interesting because the laws of the universe are like this. It operates, it can seem cold, but it's not. It's actually, it's very loving, but it comes down to energy and conservation of energy. So yeah, there's all sorts of you out there on different timelines in a different dimensional, in different time matrices even possibly. And so if you're let's say there's 144,000 extensions altogether that this consciousness has. It might go, well, you know what? I need more energy for these 80 over here. I'm taking 80 of the ones that aren't doing anything with their life, and they're just sucking, they're just vampirizing, they're just not going anywhere, and they're just, ill, dying, they're killing themselves. They're degenerate. So just like your body might lose a dead cell and, conserve the energy for others, there can be a something like that where it's like, one version of you has expired and that energy has been transferred to the you here and now who is doing your mission and doing this work. And
so that's a whole nother component of what could be happening in your own physical body as you have extensions that are dying off. I do healing work across like different circles of selves, but that's another topic. We got to go to one more break.
Okay.
And before we go though, the last thing I want to talk about is a badass event, and this is one I'm hosting in Melbourne, Florida on 12/14/19. It's at Wags and Purrs Specialty Pantry. I'm having an animal healing clinic. It's going to be free sessions from 12 to 5, and I'll be doing Reiki and craniosacral therapy on our furry family members. If you want to book your spot, if you're local or feel like driving a little bit to get here, it's 321-802-3243 if you want to book a spot for that. So we'll be back in just a minute.
All right. This is Doug Monda.
This is Karen Monda.
And Chris Hadaway.
And we're the host of Survive, the new podcast brought to you by the Survive First Foundation, a nonprofit organization assisting first responders and their families in need of mental health support due to the lifestyle of being a first responder. So, Chris, tell us what we're going to have.
We're coming to you from retired and active law enforcement officers as well as their spouses to discuss the responder life.
Don't forget, this is an unedited and raw podcast, so we need your interactive suggestions and advice to help us help others.
So find us live on our Survive First Facebook page and join in the conversation, or find us on demand on Spotify, iTunes, or anywhere you listen to podcasts from the Space Coast Podcast Network to you.
Are you in the market for a new home? Perhaps you need to sell your old home and downsize or relocate. Hey there, my name is Jesse Hall with eXp Realty, and I offer professional real estate services right here on the Space Coast. Give me a call, 321-877-8737 for all of your real estate needs. Again, 321-877-8737 for all of your real estate needs. Buy, sell, invest with the best. Find out more at 321-buysellinvest.com.
All right, we're back. Tara Allgood and Trisha Schmalhofer at BAM, Badasses, Alchemist Mystics. So our last segment, we were talking about all kinds of cool shit here, and I'm going to have Tara back so we can keep going. But we want to just touch on something you mentioned earlier is the Stargate portals in Earth, and you even mentioned ley lines. So maybe we can just kind of define that, what those are.
So the Earth is, I compared it kind of like to an ovum earlier, and in a sense,
or an
she
egg.
is,
Yes.
And in this womb of a universe, and she interacts with stellar frequencies. Now, if you look at like a radio telescope, what is that doing? It's listening for stellar radiation, stellar radio waves, messages from the stars. Mm-hmm. So if you look at say ancient writings and texts and manuscripts, you'll see lots of references to communication with off-planet entities. Now, how are they doing this? Is this all advanced technology? I don't believe it all is. I think that it was their multidimensionality, and that a lot of their technology was really just geared toward amplifying that and keeping those connections. And some of those connections are made in ways that I'm not an expert at understanding these things because science isn't my forte. But basically the ley lines, the electromagnetic grids, and the diamagnetic gravity vortices, as well as the stargates, and there's portals in the cosmos that stellar energies and cosmic energies come through and basically fertilize the earth, fertilize those ley lines and our consciousness from different stars, from different parts of the universe. And so there's an organic way that the earth is meant to sit and align and connect in with the universe and receive these energies, and we're supposed to all be a part of this cycle. Now, the earth is there's a lot of speculation that the earth is at some sort of organic tilt because of some alien technological interference, and that this was part of the attempt to hijack the ascension and to control the stargates. Because Earth is a stargate, does have a stargate system, there's a war to control it, because you can basically access multidimensional locations and other constellations, other places in the universe from Earth, from within the Earth, and from these stargates.
So when I've done a meditation going to the core, I picked up on one of these, but where are they on land in certain places? Do they move around? Or
yes, I mean there's maps, okay, and you can say, and they basically correspond to the diamagnetic gravity vortices from what I've seen. But yes, there's locations where the Earth's, those stargates exist in are referred to. But in all reality, the stargates within you are what matter, because that's what accesses them. You can't go. It might as well not exist if your stargates aren't active within you. You have to be the stargate, basically, to go through the stargate.
So what's happening on the Earth is also in our body.
Yes,
okay.
And the Earth in our body have a lot in common. The ley lines, we have our meridian lines. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about doing meditation, we talk about doing energy work. Even as important as meditation is learning to maintain your energy field, to become aware of your energy lines and your meridians and your channels, to be able to look into them and know if something's stuck in them, clogging them, blocking them, pull it out and get it cleared up and get yourself sealed. And connect the different dimensional pieces of your intelligence, your consciousness. And that might be partly a stellar light coming from these stargates.
And if someone's like, well, how do I do that? You use your imagination and you have that intention and you travel through your body in whatever way you want and you see, what does it look like? Oh, a bunch of muck that's
Pretty much,
clogged up, or is it a bunch of twigs that are there? It's whatever your imagination wants to visualize.
Right.
It as.
And when you start out, even if you don't see anything, you just intend. And you
Yes.
imagine. And then what happens is the more clear you get, and as your higher sensory perception opens up, they come online to such a degree that it becomes almost like a movie projector playing it in light. You're not imagining anymore, and it's just doing it.
Yes.
So you just have to kind of act as if for a time. And then once your consciousness and in your neurology and your adrenal system has been upgraded to that level where it can come online and be activated, you will be. And you just trust what you know and what you see. And as far as, getting messages, getting intuition, getting guidance every day and knowing who to trust and where to look, the whole thing is ultimately always going to come back to being in a state of peace and centeredness and in a state of grace and surrender, basically, when it comes to manifestation and magic. So the more you struggle and the more you strive to achieve these things, the more you're missing the mark and
That's
you're missing
right.
the point.
That's right.
It's let it go.
It's supposed to be fun and magical.
It is.
Yes, you have to work through the muck and some like shadowy, fearful stuff, but that's not where you're supposed to hang out. It's supposed to
You
be
can't
fun
hang out,
and
but
discovery.
you can't be scared of it either.
No,
If
you got to go through it.
You
You
have
got
to go through it. You have
That's
to
how
be-
you're going to get to a higher
If
resonance.
you go up, you're going to go down too.
It's in and out.
It's a sphere.
Same. So, let's see. There was something that just popped in and now it's gone. We have a few minutes. Is there anything you want to touch on a little further about stargates in the body, on the earth?
I think that what's really important with ascension healing is understanding that the basics of what you're trying to do is basically just reclaim your biological template the way it was originally intended to be. You're going to discover, how to take care of yourself and experience kicking that biological process on. And it's also going to kickstart awareness of multidimensionality that you hadn't had before. And sometimes that can be quite a challenge when you're juggling like a job and 3D life and the kids and a relationship. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, but the star visitors are here.
Yeah. Someone's in my bedroom. Oh my God. Yeah.
And the whole thing is don't freak out. Don't expect other people to understand where you're coming from or believe you, because it'll just hurt your feelings and you'll take it in the confidence. Don't do that. It's about peace and balance, about finding balance. How do I balance this experience?
And what I want to say, because we only have a little bit of time, is find a community of people that don't think it's weird. Because there are people like us out there that can talk about this. So find that community or tribe, because I feel like that's important right now.
Very important.
And also use your inner discernment. If something does come into your house, that inner, do I need to get this thing out of here? Or is this like something that I need to learn from or talk to? Or is it friend or foe? Friend or foe.
Yes.
That's what I say.
And discernment, there's always a temptation in this arena to want to know more and know more and know more about ascension, multidimensionality, and the alien races and interdimensionals and this and that and the stargates and the quantum mechanics of ascension. And all of those things are fuel for your mega mental matrix. And your mega mental matrix has nothing to do with your ascension, because your higher mind, when that comes in with information, you just know.
Right.
You just know. You will see, perceive, receive, whatever. You do not need to go running around in mental circles on anything.
That actually impedes your ascension
does.
process, because it feeds the egoic mind.
If you're doing that with something, you got to let it go. Say to your higher self, I would like the truth on this. I'm going to set it aside until it comes back to me.
Yes.
And it will.
It's meant to. So, and I wanted to say, Tara and I are doing a class here in Melbourne on discernment. Yep. This coming Thursday, actually. And this is our first one, so we might be doing more of these. It's at the Spiritualist Chapel of Melbourne this coming Thursday, November 21st, 6:30 to 8:30, and that's on 1924 Melody Lane in Melbourne. So if you want to learn how to access that inner discernment in the area, come on Thursday evening. And so Tara, before we check off, how can people get in touch with you if they want to book a session or
basically
read your blog,
my email,
or YouTube channel?
I have a YouTube channel. It's called Stellar Tara, and my email is Stellar Perspectives. That's perspectives plural, 2 L's in stellarperspectives@gmail.com. You can look at my Facebook page, which is also called Stellar Perspectives, or you can go to my website. You can find more about my story and see some of my videos there. And that website is www.mystellarearthlife.space. If you are interested in a session, one-on-one coaching, or interviewing me, please send me an email. Let me know, especially if you would like a reading or a session or a healing. I want you to send me an email. Tell me what it is you're trying to achieve and what you'd like to receive from me, how much you'd like to pay for it. Mm-hmm. And I'll get back to you with my schedule when I can work you in, and we'll take it from there.
Good. The 5D way of doing business. What can you afford to pay? I like that.
What do you feel good about paying? Because then I know what is it worth it to you and where you're at. And and also that way, if somebody doesn't have much money, and they say, I really am in a bad place, and I can tell, I can sense they're being sincere, but they need this. Yeah. That's okay. They might come back to me down the road and do a donation that helps somebody else get something for free. And meanwhile, somebody who has a lot of money might overpay me to assist.
It balances out.
Right. Yeah. So that's what it's about. What do you feel good about?
Say your email one more time before we.
My email is Stellar, STELLAR, Perspectives, PERSPECTIVES @gmail.com.
And Angie, I do see your comment. We'll answer that on Facebook. Okay. Thank you, everybody. The BAM email is bamcommunity11@gmail.com if you have any questions or comments, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Trish.
Yay.